Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Any hiccups and hassles? Appreciate everybody's patience and everything with all the craziness going on. For those of you that don't know me, my name is John Peck. I'm the Vice President of AFCEA Arkansas. It's been kind of a labor of love for me for the last 3 years, and I've been working hard to get a chapter started here in Little Rock. I want to welcome everybody here and thank you guys all for coming today, so that we can promote STEM education here in Arkansas. And we have a lot of good people lined up to speak today. We got Colonel Wilson and Captain Anderson from the 189th. And we've got Dr. Susan Mitchell and Kevin Knowlton. They're here. And we also have representatives from Webster University and Northwest Arkansas Community College. And
I'm just an attendee.
all right. But I do appreciate you guys coming out today, and like I said, thank you again for all your patience. We had a lot of hiccups, even after we've been planning this thing for a long time. And, so, without further ado, I'd like to turn over the floor to Colonel Wilson.
Sure.
So, thank you.
My name is Joe Wilson. I'm the Vice Commander of the 189th Airlift Wing, which is one of the 3 wings that are here on Little Rock Air Force Base. And so I'll tell you a little bit about what we do and then what we're getting into in the cyber arena. So we're the C-130H model formal training unit. So everyone in the DoD, Air Force, Marines, Navy, and 17 foreign countries that fly the C-130, all of their crew positions are trained here. So when those members complete pilot training or their initial navigator training, they come here and then they specialize in the C-130. And so we have about 700 students a year that come through Little Rock to be trained on the C-130. Some of them are initial training, and then other ones are instructor upgrade and other classes that we teach here. So we're a schoolhouse, in our mission here, and so I think that ties in with a lot of you folks. So how we got into the cyber business. So we have a Building 310, which is a 10,000 square foot top secret SCI SCIF that we operate, that the 123rd Intelligence Squadron operated out of. They've been here on Little Rock for several years. When the 188th Wing in Fort Smith lost their A-10 mission, one of the missions to make up for that was to move the 123rd Intel Squadron from Little Rock to Fort Smith. And so they built a new SCIF down there. They also have some additional intelligence and reconnaissance missions that they do, which required a SCIF anyway, so it made sense to relocate them. However, we had this 10,000 square foot SCIF that there was no plan for, so we actually worked with our co-bills, Senators Bozeman and Cotton, Congressman Hill, Congressman Westerman, and Congressman Womack to try to obtain an additional mission for the SCIF here. So the Secretary of the Air Force came to visit Little Rock. She saw the building and is like, this is an incredible facility, and yes, we're going to put a mission into it. So that's how we were awarded the mission, and then it was kind of determined what it was going to be. So I recently went to AFSpace and 24th Air Force down in San Antonio, which is the Senior Leaders Cyber Course. My background is actually aircraft maintenance, so I am not a cyber or computer guy at all, but I am the second in command of the 189th, so one of my charges is to help stand this mission up. So I'm sure y'all are probably aware that are in the education and cyber business that cyber needs to grow by leaps and bounds. Every single day in the paper there's something about security breach or hacking or all these different things that are going on in the cyber world, and there's actually not enough capacity in the DoD to take care of all that. So one of the things I learned at AFSpace is that the DoD receives almost 1 billion intrusion attempts a month on DoD computer systems, so obviously it's a big issue. Currently, the DoD has about 1,500 people that are dedicated cyber operators. They want to grow that to 3,000 in the next by 2020. And so, obviously, the limiting factor was education and training people to be cyber operators. So that's how we received the mission that we have, which is the Cyber Skills Validation Course. And Captain Anderson is going to go into a little bit more detail. I'll just kind of give you our background and then why we're interested in working with you. So anyway, we're going to teach this cyber skills validation course, and we're taking folks that have 5 and 7 level, which is kind of a journeyman and then advanced journeyman accreditation working in communications. So they're all network guys, phone system guys, things like that, but they're not cyber operators. So there's currently about 350 enlisted people backlogged for cyber training, which is done at Keesler Air Force Base in Mississippi, and about 100 officers. And so what we're doing, approximately 200 of them are already 5 and 7 level communications guys. So we're taking those guys that obviously have a very strong background in computer networking and operations and phone systems, and then we're teaching a 7-week 1B4 cyber operator course. And so those guys will immediately go out to units in the field and start performing as cyber operators. So it's it fits with our mission, being a schoolhouse here and having a lot of instructors. And so we're really excited about doing this mission. So obviously, if we're going to be a cyber education facility, we're very interested in teaming with the educational community here in Little Rock and how we can work together, to do things, produce a better product. And also, the other thing that we'd like to pitch as well, obviously we have to recruit people. So our initial manning is where we receive 27 positions, 14 full-time that will work at the schoolhouse. But we're scheduled to grow in FY19 and become 70 people total and about 30 people full-time. So obviously a significant growth in cyber personnel, which we currently don't have expertise in our unit. So we're looking outside the unit, and we're also looking at recruiting new people to go into the cyber mission. So, as educators, I'm sure you have students that have trouble paying for school, going to, everyone, they have to have a part-time job or full-time job and go to school at night or during the day and vice versa. So we have a lot of great programs in the Guard for paying for education, and you're receiving and being in an occupation that you want to do. So in other words, if you have cyber students who say, man, I've got to take a semester off and work and make some money so I can pay for school, we might be able to get them as a traditional guardsman. And most of our programs, you can be an Air National Guardsman and make enough money to pay for school and not have to have an additional job. And on the weekends and during your training period, you'll be working in the career field that you're interested in. So we have 2 of our recruiters here today, Sergeant Grooms and Sergeant Epperson. And so if you have any questions about that, so that's one of our motivations. The other thing is just working together as a community, to grow this. So one of Cybercom's initiatives is for a cyber squadron to be in all 54 states and territories, because in our Title 32 state status, we can work with state government to help protect their infrastructures and support industry that are in those states. So obviously we want to make connections with industry and state leaders. We've already had a meeting with Adam, the Emergency Management Department, on how we can start working together. We had department chairs from Euler that came over the week before last. They were very excited about what we're doing and wanted to initiate an instructor exchange program where we could have 2 of our military teachers go be guest lecturers at their civilian classes to give them that perspective, and then we could have civilian instructors come over and brief our military folks on the civilian perspective. So we think that's a great initiative. So anyway, that's why we want to be a member of AFCEA and meet you folks and let you know what we do, and hopefully work together to provide a safer and more cyber secure environment for the state of Arkansas and for our citizens. So I'm going to turn it over to Captain Anderson. He is a cyber guy, so he knows all about this, and he's going to give you a little bit more detail on our mission and what we're doing. But please let me know if we can exchange information. If you'd like to come visit the SCIF and see how we're setting it up and what we want to do, we'd certainly be happy to do that. So thank you very much for having us this morning.
Well, good morning. I'm Captain Anderson. Colonel Wilson covered most of what's in these slides. I'm going to flip through them and hopefully talk a little bit more about what we're doing, nuts and bolts, and then at the end answer any questions you all might have. So he's talking about this new unit is part of the 189th. It falls because it's operations. It falls under the operations group. So currently we're a detachment under the operations group with that 27-person unit, 14 full-time. When we grow possibly to the 71-ish number, will become a squadron. So we'll no longer be a DED, we'll be a squadron in the operations group.
Is that one in the middle?
In the middle one,
Oh,
yeah.
middle.
Sorry.
So he touched on all these right here, so I'm going to just flip through the slides and reiterate. That's our building down the road. So he talked about the mission. The Cyber Mission Force is what's growing to the 3,000 over the next few years. There is a big limiting factor on the training. So there's a lot of lawyers that still have to figure out what those cyber protection teams are doing across the National Guard and across the U.S. and the 54 states and territories. In regards to the small business, education, government, local government, state government, the counties, all the above. So even small business. So the plan is that we develop the capability that we can support all that from a domestic standpoint, along with getting the federal tasking that we get from the president and the DOD. So he talked about the mission partners. Right now, we're standing up directly with National Guard Bureau, the Air National Guard, specifically A3C, and then Air Force Space Command. So they're leaning forward on this because of the timeline that fell into place. And then also there's a professional education center over on Camp Robinson that does a lot of cyber training right now. They're not going to be doing cyber operator training, but there are a lot of cybersecurity courses that are taught over there with your Security Plus, Network Plus, CISSP, Ethical Hacker, all of those type courses, Cisco courses. And then they have partnerships as well with local universities. So it's just bringing them in, bringing us in, so we're all one big happy family, essentially. And then also Joint Force Headquarters, he talked about the domestic side, I've recon a little bit. That's working with, they're the joint. So this mission is not just air, it's Army as well. So anytime it's two services, it's called joint. So working with the joint staff over on Camp Robinson as well, because they're the ones that directly work with the state and ADAM, the Arkansas Department of Emergency Management. Local education, like you said, with Euler, working with the STEM, the Innovation Center, that we want to pull in as much as we can just so that we all have a better understanding, share information, because that's the key. The communication, knowing people, knowing what vulnerabilities may pop up and what they can do with those vulnerabilities down the road. Along with the past slide had a forensic piece, so we're talking to the crime lab in regards to like in a legal proceeding or something, if there's something that needs to be taught in regards to the forensics piece, then we could possibly assist with that in the future as well. And then I talked about the state and local government. So the cyber skills validation course is the first course we're going to be offering. The pilot course starts next month. So just in a few months, we went from nothing to a course. We've partnered with another Guard unit to write the curriculum. And just to kind of talk about the course itself, the 1 Bravo 4 is the AFSC, which was the Air Force used for, like, that's a specialty code, Air Force specialty code on a cyber operator, an enlisted cyber operator. That person is doing what we talked about. They're doing the cyber operations, so there's different pieces of that. They're either doing security, defending our network, or they're doing the attack part as well. The 1 Bravo 4 AFSC is like 7 months long down in Keesler Air Force Base in Mississippi. Our course is going to be, this cyber skills validation course is going to be 7 weeks. So what it wants to do is tap into the cyber operators like we have across the Guard that have been doing cyber stuff for 10, 15 years. They don't need to go down to Keesler for 7 months and learn what a keyboard or a mouse is. They've been working on. And electronic fundamentals, other courses as well. They already have their Security Plus usually. They already have the high score on the ASVAB. They don't need to go do that 7-month course. So they'll send them to this cyber skills validation course. And it's to validate their previously earned and practice skills that they have in cyber. along with develop the ops mindset. So they're not just like a help desk function, but they're doing cyber operations. And then the readiness. So the military is all about readiness. Hey, do we have people that can go fight right now? Not a year from now or 5 years from now, but now. So training those people in a shorter time frame will give us more readiness. And then this little chart right here on the bottom talks about what's going to be required to come through our course. And it goes into details about what skills those guys have been doing cyber for 10, 15 years need to have in order to go through our course. So he talks about recruiting. There's many more, but lots of people in other states don't realize that there are a lot of IT type business in Arkansas. There are a lot of cyber professionals or close to Arkansas, down in Louisiana. But the key here is we want to develop those partnerships that I was talking about. We want to start the communication flow. We want to get with the professional organizations and make sure that our people in the Guard, lots of times, if we're recruiting professionals or they're going to school when they graduate at some point, they're going to be professionals in that career field. So our 1 weekend a month warriors will be doing stuff downtown similar to what they do on the weekend. And there's things on the weekend when we become operational that they may not be able to do downtown because legalities. So it's a great mission for the Guard, and I think the future's awesome. I mean, in regards to what's coming out and the growth of cyber and cybersecurity.